Hello, this is Forrest from River City Trucks. Today I wanted to kind of go over a couple of things I've noticed on the internet having to do with the hotshot trucking industry, and that was dealing with the length of the vehicle. And so most state laws, there's some states out there that are different. I know the Indiana's different, it's like 55 foot at Indiana, but by and large they're mostly 65. And again, check the different states as you're driving down the road. Don't get caught with being in 55 states 65 feet long or longer. And that does include the overhang. So if you have a vehicle or something on there and it hangs off the end of the trailer, it's going to include that overhang, right? So what I have behind me here, you can see, is this truck and this trailer, which is typical in the the hotshot industry. And I'm just going to measure this and show you how I measure it to make sure that I'm under that 65 foot mark. And I'm going to turn the camera around, we'll take a look at it. So what we have is a 2019 Ford F-350 dually with the long bed. It's got the 8-foot bed on it, which I really like with the Fords. And we have a Lamar 40-foot low flat deck with the drive over triaxle, 21,000. And one of the things about the Lamar trailer is, and this is going to go to a point, is all of these trailers are not created equal, right? The deck length being 40 feet is 40 feet, and that's from the very back end of the dovetail all the way to there at the end of the deck. But the gooseneck is where the difference comes in. Lamar has one of the shortest goosenecks that there is on the market. PJ and Big Tex have one of the longest goosenecks on the market. And I want to show you this, but I left the tailgate down because I'm going to show you. I had a PJ before, and my PJ, I could walk easily between there. And this one, you can see there's just not much room between here, between the toolbox and stuff and that tailgate. The Lamar also has a lower height, so it doesn't stick up as high, which means that, you know, from your, I have a couple of cameras in the back, I can see over top of that and see the payload that I have on the rear, on the trailer. So I want to show you how I measure to make sure I'm not over that 65 foot mark. Or if I am, I want to know how much I am. So let's just go up here to the front and I'll show you something. So I took on the tow hooks up front and I put this broom on there across the tow hooks. And it's even with the front of the bumper, which is where they calculate to. That light sticks out, they don't count that. But you can see where it's even to the front bumper of the truck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my measure. I'm going to look down here at my wheel, which is what they typically use, is a wheel similar to this one. And I'm going to put it right even with the end of that stick, as you can see. So let's just figure out where that's at. It's about right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to set it to 0. Oops, 0. So I set the thing to 0. Now I'm even at 0 with the broom handle there, and I'm going to walk. I'm going to make sure I keep some good down pressure because I don't want it to skip, float over something, you know. I don't want to, you know, move out and in from the truck, so it adds an extra inch or two, because it can actually come down to that. Some of these DOT and troopers out there, I mean, 65 feet is 65 feet, and some of them will tell you that. 65 feet 2 inches, and they can actually say something about it. But let's go ahead and measure all the way to the back of the trailer here. And if we come all the way to the back corner of the dovetail, and then we stop at the very back corner of the dovetail. Now when we do that, you can see what the measurement is on this. It's actually 64 feet and a half. 64 feet 6 inches. Now all day long, that's under 65 feet, that passes. Even if it was an extra inch, I'm sure that they would have let it go through, or 2 inches. And I've heard of people saying, yeah, it was 65 feet and 8-9 inches and they still let it go through. There's no way to absolutely tell what the end is. In other words, where they're going to say, okay, that's enough is enough. So you're better off just trying to stick under that at the 65 feet, maybe a couple before, maybe a couple back. But you really got to measure it, because again, all the Ford F-350s are going to be the same. All the Dodges are going to be the same. All the Chevys are going to be the same. Not, of course, of each other, but they're going to be the same as their as every other one. So if you have a Ford F-350, you can pretty much figure they're going to be the same as every other Ford F-350. Now, that being said, I want to show you something else, and it has to do with the Ford versus the Dodge and Chevy. So on the Ford, if you look at the center of the axle right here and you follow that up, if you notice, and I mean it's ever so little, that where the center of the axle is at is not where the center of the ball is at. The ball is actually on the Fords, it actually sits forward by a couple of inches. And when you go inside of the wheel well here, you can see the gooseneck ball. And again, the ball is about the center of that bracket right there, and you can see that's not the center of the wheel. Even when you go over the top here, you can see that that ball, when you come out here and you look at it, we'll step back a little bit, is not dead in the center of the axle. It's actually forward by an inch or two. So the Dodge, if you measured this, the truck obviously is going to come into play, but that where they center that is actually going to come into play as well. Anyway, I hope that's helped out somebody.